Time now for the state of the offensive line of the Green Bay Packers. Josh Myers is out as the center. He is no longer a Green Bay Packer. Aaron Banks is in as the new left guard. Elton Jenkins, we know will slide over to center. That's just assuming he gets paid first. He wants his guaranteed money as he moves from left guard
just wants
to center.
money that he's already got in his contract to be guaranteed.
Yep.
Don't think it's a big ask.
Don't think it's a big ask either. Jordan Morgan, of course, last year's first-round pick, could not crack the starting lineup last year. He will attempt to do so again this year at left tackle in a battle with Rasheed Walker this training camp. But the Packers invested in their offensive line. It's as simple as that. This offseason also spending a second-round pick on Anthony Melton. Is that his name? Did I get that right?
Yes.
From
Belton.
NC State? Belton. Not Bo Melton. Belton.
Bo Melton. Anthony Belton.
That's confusing. Okay. Regardless, lots of investment. Aaron Banks and Belton.
If you start calling him Mo Belton, then we'll really have problems.
That's correct. Tone Belton in the second round.
Beltone. There you go. That's how you'll remember it.
That is. Thank you very much for that. The offensive line was upgraded this offseason, correct?
We
would all agree?
Like, how soon can I get out of here? Can I just get my major cheeseburger and leave?
And get out of here. Phonics with Strouf.
It's been changed. We'll see if it's been upgraded, right?
Sure.
if you start Jordan Morgan at left tackle instead of Rasheed Walker,
is that an upgrade?
Is that an upgrade? I think Elton Jenkins is an upgrade at center over Josh Myers, and you certainly paid Banks to be an upgrade at left guard, and he's getting paid more than the guy that was playing left guard. Will he be an upgrade? I don't know. That looked like a lot of money to give a guy whose resume does not have any of the accomplishments that most guys that get paid have. Now, that said, that's right on brand with Goody, right? Goody's brand is, I am not paying guys that have accomplished things. I'm paying guys that I think are going to. Like Zadarius Smith had done next to nothing. Mm-hmm. I think he had an 8-sack season,
which is his career high right before he came to Green.
Right. So I'm not saying that Banks will be a disappointing signing. I'm just saying I don't know if I'm comfortable stating as fact that they upgraded their offensive line. They have certainly made changes to it.
They need to figure out these issues that they have contract-wise with their guys, because first of all, with Elton Jenkins, just guaranteeing a little bit of his money to guarantee that he's going to be here, because the money he's making is a lot of money for a center. Hey, I want to make sure I'll slide over, I'll do what's best for the team, but now you got to do something that's right for me. That seems like a fair negotiation. And then with Zach Tom, I don't know why Goody refuses to learn the lesson of taking care of things earlier rather than later. Didn't take care of it early with Devontae Adams, loses Devontae Adams. Now we find this situation where, okay, I'm not going to take care of this situation, and the longer you wait, the more expensive. It's not going to get cheaper if you're waiting to sign Zach Tom as your right tackle. Because what happens if Zach Tom, who's now going to be healthy this year, has a healthy season and gets a couple more votes and becomes second-team All-Pro, or heaven forbid, first-team All-Pro? You know how expensive that's going to get for you because you refuse to pay the guy who would have been the third-team All-Pro right tackle a year ago? This is the lesson that Jerry Jones has refused to learn, that the Cincinnati Bengals have refused to learn. This is not the company you want to be keeping when it comes to signing your own guys.
Wow. Maybe I'm going to leave and get a major cheeseburger.
He's on fire. Yeah. I fully agree with you. And,
you should do nationals.
Heard him when I got home from the bar last night. He was doing national stuff.
You were in bed by 9:30.
I was.
Oh, okay.
I was on at 9.
Oh, okay. Till?
Midnight.
Ooh. And now you're back here at it with us knuckleheads. I wish I had more to add to that.
He nailed it.
But again, I don't like. There's an old person saying, which I've now established that I am, after being told by one of the fest goers that I wouldn't know any of the bands that she was looking to get some sort of a wristband for. If you're going to ask for a wristband, you got to be nicer to me, and we don't have them anyway. But it's called penny wise but pound foolish. And they can save these pennies. It's a British thing, pounds. But the reality is it's going to cost you more in the end. And Gabe's exactly right. Here's what bothers me about Zach Tom, and I know we had this conversation on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy as well. In one way, you're all over Jair Alexander for not playing through the knee injury. Here's Zach Tom, who plays an entire season after tearing his pec in April. He never gets the strength back. He can't bench to rebuild the strength during the season. he has to play a different type of game. He, by his own admission, does not have his best season, even though Pro Football Focus had him with his highest grade. He finished with the third most votes at right tackle for all pro voting, and yet you don't take care of him now. I had a conversation with Homer last week, too, about the Elton Jenkins situation. You don't have to win every negotiation. You want to have the flexibility. I get it. They want to have the flexibility that if this doesn't go well, that they can part ways with him after the 2025 season. First of all, if he's on the roster on opening day, he's going to be guaranteed his base salary for this season. So you guarantee that amount. You guarantee a little bit of money from 2026. And if it doesn't work out and you decide that you want to go a different direction at center, fine. But instead of having him miss the entire offseason program, instead of having it hanging over your head, do the right thing by the guy and be done with it. You yourself, Goody, said that he would be an all-pro center. If you feel that strongly about him, put your money where your mouth is, and yet still you add a couple of dummy years to the contract. If you need to move on from him, you can. And those two things should be resolved. The Anthony Belton not being signed yet because only 4 second-round picks have signed because they all want guaranteed deals now.
Somebody got a guaranteed one, and now all of them want a guaranteed one.
Right, and I don't blame them for that. But that one's a little harder to avoid. The other two, to me, those are what we like to call unforced errors. They could be resolved.
And I would just say, because Ron Wolf had the theory of he wasn't really going to pay his offensive line because they didn't score touchdowns. He wanted to save his money for that. So I would say, okay, maybe he's doing that, except
he's not paying them either.
You went outside of the organization to pay somebody.
Right.
And so that's obviously not what they're doing either. So I don't know why you'd be willing to pay someone like Aaron Banks, but not being willing to pay. It's not like Zach Tom. If Zach Tom was closer to 30, going on to a third contract, right, I think I'd understand.
Like Elton Jenkins.
Yep, I understand a little bit more. But isn't it the dream to draft somebody as good as Zach Tom in the 4th round?
Sure is.
So you can eventually pay that person?
Bingo. So, to your point, you have 3 starters from last year entering contract years on this offensive line. Zach Tom, we do believe will be back, I would assume. We would all agree they will eventually extend him. This will not be his last season.
I don't know that.
I can't say that with all certainty.
Wow. So we've lost, because I feel like at least during last season we all operated like that was going to be a foregone conclusion, but they haven't locked him up yet.
There was a time before Romeo Doubs stayed home from work that week. The question was, who will they extend first, Romeo Doubs or Zach Tom? Now, I don't know if they extend either of them. I would certainly hope that we are just being alarmist and that Zach Tom, who I don't think should take the field for training camp without
Absolutely
a contract,
not.
I agree with you.
Absolutely not.
will get taken care of. But again, if they don't do that and they choose to play hardball, they're cutting off their nose, in my opinion, to spite their face. So he needs to get taken care of. The other part of it is, I would argue, look, use Jordan Morgan as your 6th man because your guys are not going to all stay healthy all season long. Have them train at both tackle and both guard spots and let Rasheed Walker start one more year because you don't want to pay him? Great. Let someone else pay him and take the compensatory draft pick you get for him signing big money.
So you vote this will be Rasheed Walker's last season in Green and Gold.
Yeah, and
Yes.
and then
Gabe,
the
you
other
agree?
one obviously is Sean Ryan,
Yep.
who I think is also a better player than he probably gets credit for. And what I love about Sean Ryan, he's got a little bit of Scott Wells to him. They keep trying to give away his job, and he keeps winning it back anyway. Him and Rasheed Walker have both done that, and I have a lot of respect for guys who do that.
I tend to agree, but will they be Packers when we are talking
there
next year?
There will be one of the 3, I would think.
And I would think it's Zach Tom.
You would certainly think so.
It better be Zach
And
Tom.
hope.
It better be Zach Tom. But again, apparently he's in a competition for his job, according to the coaching staff. And
Right.
so,
That was one of the weirdest things I've had happen in a while.
so based on
When we talked to Adam Stenovich during the offseason.
Who's the offensive coordinator,
and
of course.
he
Yep.
and Luke Butkus, the offensive line coach, both doubled down on basically saying that Zach Tom is in a competition at right tackle. And I thought when Steno said it the first time, I thought he misspoke, but then he circled back and said it again, so he clearly didn't. And I don't know if that's a negotiating ploy or what that is, but if your best offensive lineman is having to compete for his job, I understand the NFL is a competitive business, but again, there's a line between you have to compete and you want to feel appreciated. And the idea that you should be getting an extension, and instead the coaching staff is talking about you as a guy who's competing to keep his starting job, that feels like a disconnect to me.
I'm not going to lie. if it is a negotiating play,
it's not a good one.
It's not a good one.
It's not a good one, but I'd kind of feel a little bit better because then maybe the coaching staff and some of those other silos are actually communicating.
Bravo.
Cooking up, this guy.